Hello, this is East80 Bassist, and today we are going to begin the first playthrough on my channel. We are going to be doing a Elden Ring playthrough, just a casual playthrough, but we are going to be killing every single boss, almost 200 of them. I started out as a samurai build, or I'm sorry, samurai starting class with the golden seed as my starting gift, and we're going to be going for your standard bleed arcane build, building up to the rivers of blood and things like that. I'm not going to make any claims that I'm an expert at this game. You're going to see me die multiple times in this, and I am not going to be doing any sort of tricks or anything. I'm going to be going through everything legitimately and just overall just playing Elden Ring as anybody would. And with that, we are going to go ahead and get started. I'm recording this after the fact, that's why I'm kind of drawing it out. I'm going to be cutting out any sort of traveling and things like that. While we're headed over to the Church of Ella, I am going to say that I have already killed one boss. I did go ahead and do the tutorial just because it was there. And I did fight Soldier of Godric. So I'm just going to throw in the footage of me fighting Rick right here. And just a disclaimer for this fight, you're going to see me almost die simply because I'm trying to learn how to parry. I was able to learn how to parry with Dark Souls 1 and just never tried to learn how to do it for Elden Ring. So I wanted to try and learn how to do it. And obviously I didn't figure it out as quickly as I hoped. But I was able to get a parry to finish off Soldier of Godric. And thankfully I was able to get that on camera, which did provide a little bit of obligatory egotistical satisfaction. As we get up to Church of Ella, honestly I just came here to get the Sight of Grace and ultimately voice crack and ultimately to get the smithing stone that is at the anvil. Now I am going to be using the Uchikatana for the time being, but it's not my weapon of choice. You are going to also see me pick up Erdleaf flowers, and mostly that's just out of habit, because when I'm not recording this, I did spend a lot of time gathering Erdleaf flowers to play multiplayer, and anytime that I just see an Erdleaf flower at this point, it's just second nature to pick it up. So there will be instances where you'll see me pick those up throughout the recordings. And we're just going to go to Gatefront to get Torrent. And that is probably going to be the last lateral thing that we do. And then from that point, I'm just going to kind of freehand what directions we go off in. Well, hello.
Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina.
Nice to meet you. You're pretty, but you're missing something. That's it. As far as any particular weapons, I'm not going to worry too much about getting any weapon in particular. If there's a certain weapon that I remember and I know where to get it, then I'm going to go and get it. But if it's there and I know that it's there, then I'm just going to go ahead and get it. That's why you saw me get the great sword and the flail, even though as of right now, I don't have any intention of using either of those weapons. And we're going to get our first level, and I'm going to be pumping quite a few levels from this point into Vigor, just to make things easier on myself. We're going to deviate from the path for now, just to save our little monkey friend. And after getting determination, we encounter what I consider to be one of the most annoying enemies in the entire game, if not the entire series. These bastards on this horse piss me off in a way that I can't properly explain. If these were night cavalry, I'd be less pissed off. But these annoying jockeys, if you want to call them that, for whatever reason, just give me the most grief out of anything, especially early game. And as you can see, that's where we get our first death. I'm going to have a little death counter in the corner. And that's where death number 1 comes from. So after respawning, I decide to take out a little bit of my frustration, and I find his cousin. And like I told you, I'm not great at this game. The rolling, I'm better at rolling with bosses than I am with the enemies. And I do get the critical hit here to finish him off. But after killing him, my bloodlust is still not satiated, so we're going to attack his brother here on the bridge. And I will also say, this is the first time that I've played Elden Ring in almost a year. Souls games are a game that I can get back into pretty easily. Just recently, I finished a casual playthrough of Dark Souls 1, and I decided to play Elden Ring again, and that's why we're here. But getting used to the timing of everything again, it is a little bit of a learning curve, but I will say that Elden Ring still trumps every other Souls game when it comes to the gameplay, the mechanics, the like, anything of that sort. And we're trying to get our revenge once again on this guy who gave us our first death. And he's still giving us the business. I don't know why this one is giving me so much issue. I don't know if I was just not playing correctly, but I'm going to take Toast to the mouth and get our second death. And it's at this point, I don't even bother moving the camera because I'm just contemplating my next move. So at this point, I just say, you know, I don't want to waste my time or your all's time either. So I just say, forget it, see you, and goodbye to all three of them. We get our souls, or I'm sorry, our runes, and we find the next grace. And like I said, we're going to pump 2 levels this time into Vigor. And now we're going to deal with the Tunnel of Love, where we have, and I call it the Tunnel of Love, not because anybody's going to be kissing while we're in it. It's that kind of height up at the top, loves himself and won't stop talking about himself. I think he goes through this dialogue option, or this dialogue here, maybe 3 times throughout while we're fighting these enemies. This may just be a hypothesis, but I like to think that this is where FromSoft tried to paint this game as like, hey, we're an RPG, but we can have horror elements. See, there's number 3. Just because these enemies, you know, they do the screaming, and they do look pretty terrifying when you actually look at them, just to differentiate themselves from the other games. They figure, why not make this a little bit scary? And I'm not going to bother with the dialogue, because I'm assuming if you're watching this, you've played through the game and you're familiar with everybody and what they do, what they don't do, what their benefit is, and things like that. All that he says is, go to my fort and kill the guy who's taking it over, which we planned on doing anyways. Once we fight this troll, is it a troll? Once we fight this troll here, we're going to be making a beeline towards that fort, because there is a skill there that I really need to get for this one. After killing that enemy, you can see me stop and look back here to make sure that he didn't drop anything. But we make it to the Third Church of America, where we are able to get our very first sacred tier, as well as our wondrous physic. And we're going to get the Lost Grace as well. From this, we're going to, of course, upgrade our flask. I will mention we are going to be getting every golden seed possible to upgrade our flasks to the maximum, as well as every sacred tier possible. And we are going to make effort to go through this forest as stealthily as possible, get the map, make a direct line southeast, get these crystal tiers, and make our way to the Grace located near the bottom of Fort Height. Now, I probably don't do this the way that everyone else does, or I do, and I don't know. But I bypass most of the enemies, if not all of them, at the very bottom, just so I can go up here and get the golden seed. And you're going to see me get ganked by these two things here. For whatever reason, I feel like I'm having a little more of an issue with the early game here than I normally do. I don't know if there's any particular reason for that. It could just be because it's my first time playing in a while, but I make every wrong decision here. I don't even try to roll away, but that's going to give us our third death. But we take L's on the chin and we come back swinging. Not as hard as I would like to, but I do get this double parry here, which I thought was really cool. It's just unfortunate that I can't get one immediately after, but I do get backstabs pretty quickly. And I didn't notice up until I did this recording, but Pumpkinhead will just go away if you don't bother him. And I do get this very easy parry here. And I say very easy, not to sound like I'm getting better. It's just on the first try, I got it and I surprised myself. And I left a lot of this uncut just so you can see that I'm not good at this game. I try to roll through all of those barrels to try to get them all destroyed before they explode, and then they still do. I go into this back room to try and take care of the things in here, and then I end up almost dying to a rat and his tender. Show that chicken. And You can see that little panic roll there because I wasn't sure if I was going to make it out. And as far as the cookbooks and everything go, I'm not going to be looking for every single cookbook. If there is a particular crafting recipe that I need and I want to get the cookbook, then I'll make the effort to do so. If I don't know where it is, then off camera you'll see me Google things, or you won't. And I know that you don't have to kill this guy here on the ballista? I don't remember if that's what they're called. But I decided to, just in case I can't kill this guy up here. But now we're going to fight this guy right here. And we're going to treat this very carefully. Just because if we can get a couple backstabs on him, then we're going to be able to take him out very easily, and that's what we do here with this heavy attack. And now that we have Bloody Slash, then once we have access to the Round Table Hold, I'll be able to put that on my Uchigatana, and it will scale with my Arcane, which is exactly what I want. But we are going to be getting the left half of the Dectus Medallion, and it's with opening the map here that I realized that I forgot to get the map at Gatefront. So I travel back there to go ahead and get that while I'm thinking about it. And I decide to try and level up. And you know how it is, we're going to put another level into Vigor. And I start looking out towards that way because I decide that I want to go fight a boss to make this video at least somewhat entertaining. But then I remember, oh yeah, I came here for the map. So after dispatching this guy quickly, I initially start running over to the map with all of the confidence, and then while I'm in the grass I crouch because I'm a little bitch Bowie. We make our way to Groveside Cave. Just because I feel like this is the best beginner boss to really figure out if you want to continue playing this game or not. And as far as boss fights go, I'm going to leave them all without any cuts, just so you can see every mistake that I make. So we were able to kill him pretty easily, and we got a talisman out of it. Just to have something in that slot, I go ahead and equip that. And we're going to return to entrance. Now after returning to entrance, I decide to once again pump those runes into Vigor. Usually by the end of my playthrough with Elden Ring, I think typically my Vigor stat ends up being up towards 60. Now, I could be wrong. I believe that that's the soft cap, but it may be way past it, and I'm not sure. To finish off this video, I decided to go ahead and get through a catacombs, specifically the Stormfoot catacombs, and I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but I always felt that the catacombs were the weakest part of this game. Simply for the fact that they are, how do I word this? They are unique in their own ways, but even in their own ways, they are very repetitive and ultimately just not super entertaining. These imp creatures are one of the most annoying parts of this game, and I'm very glad that they are, to my knowledge, limited to the catacombs. And you're going to notice I bypass most of the materials here. I'm not going to be doing a lot of crafting. If I find that there's something that I need, like I said, I'll get everything that I need for that crafting and go from there. But unless I know that it's in here and I need it, then I'm not going to worry about it at the time. But even then, we go ahead and we take out one of the flamethrowers, and I'm going to go ahead and go in here and take out the second just for the sake of convenience. And I remember that there are imps here, and then you can see me process here that I notice that there are 4 of them, and then I just grab the smoldering butterfly, realize that it wasn't worth it, and then I dip. Going up this ladder just to, once again, just make it through these catacombs as quickly and efficiently as possible. This guy's not fooling anybody. I do one quick heavy attack, and then I'm able to get a critical. And then this guy steps up like he wants the smoke, and then he's gone. We go ahead and drop down a level just to, once again, get this switch. And I don't know who coded it to where when that text about the heavy door has popped up, when that is up, you can't do anything, but they need to be fired. And then I remember while I was recording that I didn't immediately remember what boss was going to be on the other end of the piss wall. And then my disappointment was immeasurable. My day was almost ruined when I realized that it's one of these guys. Which these guys aren't terrible. Again, it's just a matter of just annoying and just ultimately just boring. I'll be the first to glaze Elden Ring saying that it's got the best boss design, and this is a very cool looking boss. It's just the behavior of it that gets on my nerves. And I try to do style points and jump over his swipe, and I fail miserably. Then we return to entrance, and to finish off the video, I of course pump the level into vigor, and I decide that I want to go back to Church of Ella. First, I'm going to use these 4 runes to see if I can get 1 extra level, but I can't. I decide that I want to go back to Church of Ella just to get the spirit bell from Ronnie, and I didn't even have to rest. She was there waiting for me.
Tarnished. May I have a word? A pleasure to I am the wit. I'd heard tell, and upon looking into the matter, the talk I surmise is of thee. Thou art possessed, call forth.
I do got the horse.
I was entrusted by torrents. 'Tis a bell summon them, the spirits. Now it is that. Forgive mine, I doubt we shall. How long
She
will
doubts
you
that we
return?
need, but I can assure you that we will. Like I said, we're going to be killing every boss, so that locks us into doing Ronnie's quest line. And I go ahead and upgrade my Uji Katana to give it +1. We are 3 short of giving any other upgrades, and that's where I decide to end this video. But not before talking to Kale, seeing if he can sell us any smithing stones. But seeing that he can't, I go ahead and just buy the crafting kit.
Goodbye.
And that's going to do it for this first video. I do appreciate anybody for watching. Maybe in the next video we will do a couple more bosses and get some other materials. But again, thank you for watching. I'm Ace Bassist, and I'm signing off.